Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K Facebook Live. And I'm just out here on my Facebook page checking that I'm live where I want to be, which it looks like I am, and just pulling up the video so that I can see comments if you guys are hopping in and saying hello. And looks like we're good to go. So today I am going to show you a card that I made with the Peaceful Nativity stamp set bundle from the upcoming, it's already going, goodness, from the current August to December 2020 mini catalog. I'm so used to saying upcoming because it was upcoming for so long. So, hey Patricia, I'm glad that you're here today. So this is my card, and I actually, as I'm looking at it, and my daughter was talking with me about it, I'm not sure that I'm in love with the palm trees on this card. I knew there was something about it that I just didn't love, and I think that's what it is. So I'll show you both versions today, and you guys can vote on it and decide which way you want me to do it. But like I said, I'm leaning towards leaving the palm trees off when I actually make the card here on video because I think that I don't love them. I don't know. You guys can decide. Let me know what you think of it. So, hey, Jean Ann, I'm glad you're here. And Rosie, yay, your set's coming tomorrow. Good news. And Danette's here as well. So I appreciate you guys joining today. So again, this is the card. And like I said, I can't decide if I want the palm trees on there or not, so I'm going to leave it up to you. We can do them or we can not. Either way will be good. So to get going on this, the Peaceful Nativity stamp set is one that's in the new mini catalog, and it's a beautiful set that's got a coordinating set of dies that goes with it, which of course I'm always, I can't not buy bundles because I just have a thing about them. So no to the palm trees. Okay, so I'm glad that it's not just me because like I said, I looked at them. Originally I had a whole different plan with what I was going to do with it, and then it came, anyway, so okay, so we're going no palm trees. I like it. I can show you how I did them. So in the event that you want to add them, I'll show you what I did, but I will just leave them off before, when it comes to gluing it, I won't be gluing them. So, all right. So this is the stamp set bundle. It is a red rubber stamp. Again, lots of good images, nice sentiments in this one. And then it's got the coordinating dies that I love. This is a standalone die as well as the star and then the two palm trees. They don't they don't cut out anything that's stamped, but they coordinate with the images. So glad that like I said, glad that you guys are, oh, hey, Julie's here as well, and Debbie and Elise, I see, Elise. And who else is here? Hopefully I haven't missed a whole bunch of you. So thanks so much for popping in and saying hello. So this one actually cuts and embosses, which it's probably a little bit difficult to see on the actual card. Hopefully you can see it a little bit better when I've got the die cut that we're going to be working with. But that's the piece that I used to cut out the background on here. And then again, the palm trees that I think we're going to leave off the card when I make it. So that's what those are. So I think that's about all. So pretty basic. It's a nice little stamp set and die set. Again, love that it's bundled. And the sentiment I actually used, I wanted something that was a little bit bigger, kind of long and narrow is what I wanted on this card. And so I actually went with the Wrapped in Christmas sentiment because I thought that one was nice with the images on here. And then on the inside of the card, I used this sentiment. So I used the Wrapped in Christmas as well as the Peaceful Nativity for the card. All right. One thing before I get going, I did just want to remind you, bonus days redemption of your coupons is going on now. So if you have coupon codes that you earned back in July, make sure that you get them redeemed before the end of August so that you can get in and get your $5 off coupons spent. No sense in earning them if you're not going to spend them. So let me know if you have questions about it. The details are posted out on my blog, as well as I've got a little graphic that'll show you how and where to add the coupon codes out in the new online store. All right, so that is all for the announcements I think that I've got. So we will dive right in and get started on the card. So hey, Lori, I'm glad that you're here as well. The first thing that I did was I went ahead and set this up on my Stamparatus to stamp the sentiment, which again, if you're going to be doing multiples of these, it's always best to do that. But it also helps me when I'm doing something like this where it's sort of like you got one shot to do it and get it right. The Stamparatus allows me to get things set up on it before I'm actually stamping on the card front, which is always a good thing. So I'm going to set this aside, and I'm starting with a Misty Moonlight. I was going to call it Magenta Moonlight, and I knew that was not the right name. So I said Misty Moonlight? Golly, I'm having like this moment. Yes, Misty Moonlight. Having a moment where I'm like, what is the name of that? So Misty Moonlight card base, which is cut to 5.5 by 8.5 and scored at 4 1/4. And then I've got the sentiment on here, and we're going to be using a little Versamark ink to do some heat embossing. I'm going to scoot that up just a little bit so hopefully you can see it on screen as I'm doing it. And again, one other nice thing doing this, using the Stamparatus when you're stamping directly onto your kind of final project, is it gives you an opportunity to restamp things. If you don't get it quite perfectly done the first time, you can always come back and restamp it in the exact same place. So just going to use the Stamparatus and close it down here over the card front. And it looks like we got a pretty good image on that one, so I'm going to set this out of the way. And then I've got gold Stampin' Emboss powder, and I've got it in my little Ziploc container. And I just have a spoon here, and I know it gets really close to the screen when I do this, so I apologize. Hopefully the camera's not going too crazy on it. Just going to do a little sprinkling of embossing powder, well, a lot of sprinkling of embossing powder over the card front. And then I'm going to remove any excess. It looks like I've got a little fingerprint or something on here for this spot. And I don't want to have that on my final project, so I'm going to use my fingers and kind of wipe that away and get that embossing powder, the extra, off there. And then we are going to turn on the heat tool and get it heating and do some heat embossing. So again, I'm sure that you've seen it. If you've seen my videos before, you know that Stampin' Up! Has a heat tool with a level 0 is off, 1 is drying, and 2 is heat embossing. So I've got it flipped on the level 2 setting. So we're going to do some heat embossing. It just needs to heat up for a second. And then hopefully on screen you'll be able to see the change in the embossing powder when it goes from kind of a dull to a shiny. That means that you are embossing as you're rolling along. All right, and I think we've got it pretty well done here. Okay, so let me set that aside. So there's our finished sentiment on here, which I think is really pretty. On the dark blue cardstock, the gold embossing I think is really a nice touch. So hey Shelly and Myrtle, I appreciate you guys being here. So let me get the embossing powder out of the way, so hopefully I won't spill that. And then I'm going to pull out some of the pieces that I had already die cut and stamped. And like I said, the palm trees, I think I'm going to set those aside. I don't think we're going to use them. But again, I'll tell you how I did it, so that in the event that you want to use them for your card, you're certainly welcome to. And then hopefully on here, if I hold it up and hold it kind of closer to the screen and hold it steady, hopefully you can see the embossing that happens when you use this die, kind of the background of the little stable die. It embosses a wood grain look on it, which is a really cool design. For this image, I actually stamped it. Again, it's from the Peaceful Nativity stamp set. I stamped it in Tuxedo Black Memento ink, and I'm going to start with Chrome Cake Stampin' Blends Light and Dark to color the the boards, the legs, I'm sure somebody will come up with a better term. Legs, I'm sure, are not what I should be calling them. But just going to add a little bit of quick color with the light Crumb Cake Stampin' Blends first, and then I'll come back in with the dark and add a few low lights. And I don't need to be too worried about, particularly up where the straw is at on this. I don't need to be too neat about it, the coloring on it, just because as I'm coloring the straw, I want to use the brush end. As I'm coloring the straw, I'll be blending things together anyway, so if I get a little crazy like I usually tend to do, I can always fling it across the screen. No, I'm just kidding. I can always do a little blending with the straw color that I'm going to be using up at the top. So again, just coming back in again with the dark Crumb Cake Stampin' Blends and adding a few low lights in, and then I'm going to come back in supports. Now, why in the world, Jean Ann, couldn't I come up with that on the fly? I don't know. I'm like, those stick things that hold the top up. So, gosh, I tell you, can you tell that I just kind of do these on the fly and don't really plan out what I'm going to say? If I were I probably should plan more than I do, but I figured the projects are really what you're here to see, and you know, if you can laugh at me and my rambling, I don't mind at all, because I try to laugh too. So, all right, so I'm coming back in with the light Crumb Cake and just kind of blending in a little bit the areas where I've added in the dark shading, and I think we'll call that good. All right, then I've got So Saffron Light and Dark Blends that I'm going to be using to color in the straw on here. And again, it doesn't need to be terribly neatly done. Hopefully I'm using, yes, this is the light. I had a moment of, oh, I thought that was the dark for a second. Doesn't need to be terribly neatly colored because it's supposed to look, you know, sort of flowy and like straw. So, well, you haven't been to Home Depot lately? Well, I haven't been to Home Depot lately, no. My husband is the one who usually goes and does that sort of shopping. He and my younger daughter are all about the Home Depot. I'm the grocery store person here, so not so much the Home Depot. So, and I appreciate that, Julie. Like I said, sometimes I wonder, I'm sure you all are thinking, what in the world, this crazy lady? She gets on these videos and rambles on. Just adding a little bit of dark So Saffron in, and then I'm going to do a little bit of blending. Again, just a very light little bit of blending with the light. And most of the dark that I added was sort of down the center where the little lines are on there, and right or wrong, that's how I did it. So, all right, so we've got the stable done. Next up, I'm going to pull out the image of the family here. So I used light, just jade, to color in the robe over here. So we're going to do a little bit. And on these images, because they're a little bit smaller, I really didn't do a lot of blending and, you know, excellent coloring or anything like that. It was mostly just getting a little bit of color on the image. Again, because they're small and because it's supposed to look a little artsy, I didn't think we needed to spend a lot of time coloring on these. The other nice thing is they've got a lot of kind of lines and shading in them already. So again, that helps when you're coloring, that you don't have to do quite as much work on it. If it's a big wide open image, I find that I have to do a little more blending on it, but these types of images, I can just sort of come in, add in a little color here and there, and they look good. So, all right, then I'm going to use light and dark Seaside Spray for the veil. And I actually left her gown just white because I thought it looked nice. I don't know, it was just a little, I don't know, made her stand out a little bit more, I thought, in the grand scheme. If I'd colored it all in, I thought about coloring it, but I wasn't really sure what color to do it in. I was going to do it in a darker blue, but then I was afraid she'd kind of melt into the background, and I didn't want that. So, all right, back with Crumb Cake again to do a little bit of coloring on the little crib manger. Is that what this is? Is it the manger? I don't know. Anyway, you could tell that I am not up on my home building terms at all. So again, just a little light and dark crumb cake here. Gonna come back and quickly do some blending. Again, not really a lot on here just because it's a small image, and I don't think it needs a whole lot of blending. And then I've got light and dark So Saffron that I'm going to be using to color the straw image in here as well. On this image, I did a little bit of the darker up closer to the baby image in here because I thought, again, when I looked at it, that is where the dark should be. Whether that's right, I don't know for sure. Then I've got the Ivory Stampin' Blends marker that I'm going to do a little bit of coloring on the skin. So that's one of the flesh tone markers that we have. There's ivory and bronze that are the flesh tone markers, and you can color them different shades and lighten and darken them as you need to for the different skin tones that you're wanting to get on your images. And then I just have the hair left, so I'm just going to color a little bit. Got dark crumb cake that I'm coloring in a little bit here. And then I think I did hers in light on the original one, but since I've got dark out and handy, that's what color we're going to do it. All right. Oh, the staff. I did forget that. I've got a light soft suede Stampin' Blends marker that I'm going to do a little quick coloring down the staff. And barely touching that one, trying to make sure that I don't go too far out of the lines on it. Then I've got the little donkey here, and we're going to do some light and dark coloring, light and dark Stampin' Blends coloring on that as well. And again, it was just mostly getting the color on initially and then doing a little bit of blending, but not really a ton of it as I'm going along here. So hopefully you all are enjoying your Tuesday. It's a warm one here today. I am so thankful the power came back on this weekend, and we've now got the air conditioning back, because it would be a scorcher out there. The last couple days have been really warm up here in New Jersey, and the humidity is up. With all the rain and everything that we had last week, the humidity is up quite a bit. So it would have been really uncomfortably warm if we didn't have the AC. And I know that's, first world problems, but just eek, it's hard to get used to not having air conditioning once you've had it for a while. So, and I know there are some here in New Jersey. I know my friend Karen doesn't have air conditioning at her house, and I'm just, she's at the beach today, thankfully. So she's getting a little bit of cool air at the beach. And then actually on my sheep, I used the ivory blends to color the sheep's face and his little legs as well, to give him a little bit of, or her, I guess, I don't know if this is a girl or a boy sheep. The animal, the sheep, giving that a little bit of color as well. All right, so I told you that I was going to show you how I did the blends on the trees, and really all that I did on them was I just took my light soft suede Stampin' Blends marker and just ran it quickly down the base of the palm tree, down the body of it, trunk of it, and then just used the light Just Jade to color the top of it. So it was nothing too exciting on the coloring of it. But just wanted to show you really quickly, since I showed you the sample that actually had it on there. This is how I did the palm trees on it. But we decided we're not going to use them anyway, so I'm not going to finish coloring that because there's no need to. All right. So let's get busy assembling the card front then. I had also cut from gold foil sheets one of the little stars. So Karen is here after all. And yes, I'm sure it's hotter in Georgia. I'm very glad that that we were out of, as unpleasant as it was being without power here, it would have been way worse if we'd been down south, because I know you guys have been roasting. And like I said, we got warm. The first 2 days probably without power were the worst. It got really warm and sticky here. And then we had a couple days where it was overcast. And so it wasn't quite as bad being without air conditioning in the house. And thankfully, we had some big fans running, so we were able to make it through. But I don't really want to do a replay of that anytime soon. So, all right, I'm going to use some tweezers because I've got this all covered. I just used some of the multi-purpose liquid glue, and I don't want to stick my fingers in it. And I'm going to try to sort of figure out where the center of this is, which hopefully that will help me to do that. And then I'm going to adhere this down to the card front, again with the liquid glue on the back of this. If I had thought ahead and planned out better, I could definitely have used the adhesive sheets on the back of the crumb cake cardstock. So just take the adhesive sheets and stick a couple of the strips across the back and then run it through the die cutting machine, and then you just peel them off like a sticker. They're super easy to use. But I don't know why I forget about them until I'm gluing everything down and going, gosh, it would have been easier if I'd used the adhesive sheets, which it would be. But I forget about them frequently. So, but don't forget about them. Don't be like me. Use the adhesive sheets. You'll find them much easier. Hey, Jackie, I'm glad that you're here. So beautiful breeze at the beach today. Thank goodness. I know you need it because it's been roasty at your house. So, but hopefully you're enjoying the scenery there at the beach and having fun with the family as well. And I've used a couple Stampin' Dimensionals to adhere the little stable that I have colored and die cut over the top of it, which again, I probably didn't mention that earlier in the video, but I had stamped everything and cut it all ahead of time so that it hopefully saved a little bit of time for us in the video. And we'll go ahead and layer those over the top, adhere them together with the Stampin' Dimensionals. And then I'm going to adhere the little family image right there as well in the center. And, I'm out of my chopped up dimensionals, so you get to see me do my official cutting on them. My very neat, very neat and nifty cutting of the Stampin' Dimensionals, just hacking them right down the middle. That works well for me. Gonna peel off the backing on those. Hey, Jackie, I'm glad. Did I say hello already? I don't know if I did or not. If I did, I apologize. I get talking and then I can't remember who I've said hi to and who I haven't. I'm gonna go ahead and adhere that image right here over the card front in the center. And then I've got the little donkey that I'm gonna add on the one side with a couple little Stampin' Dimensionals. And because I'm gonna kind of scoot this up a little bit, it's gonna overhang this a little bit. I'm going to make sure that I don't put a Stampin' Dimensional here, otherwise the little animal's head would stick up awfully funny off of the page, and I don't want that to happen. So I've just put them on the body. Put that here, and we're going to do the same thing with the little sheep on the other side. And again, just being careful not to put it over his head so that I'm able to kind of put the head over the top of the support here for the manger, for the stable, I guess, stable. All right, so that is it. Again, on the original one, I had done a couple of the palm trees, and I had tucked them in behind and had glued them down with the multi-purpose liquid glue, but I feel like I like it better without. I think I'm going to like it better without. And then I've got my little die cut star that I'm actually going to, believe it or not, use one of the mini Stampin' Dimensionals on, because that fits actually almost perfectly behind the star. And I'm going to put it right here over the center. And that is all for the card front. So super simple. The set's on your wish list. Yes, it's a good one. I think you definitely need to get it, Myrtle. So you love it without the palm trees. Yeah, like I said, originally I thought it looked a little too bare, so I put them on, and then the minute I did and got everything glued down, I regretted it, because I think I like it better without them too. So the other thing you could do is, if you want a little bit more behind it, a little bit something extra, you can actually just cut this down to 3 7/8 by 5 1/8, and then layer maybe some of the gold foil underneath it, a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of gold foil, and then put it onto a card front. I think that'd be really pretty as well. So just something a little bit different if you like it to be a little more layered rather than a little more plain like mine is. But last thing we have is to finish up the inside of the card. And again, the sentiments are from the sentiment, actually both sentiments, the outside and the inside, are both from the Wrapped in Christmas stamp set. We're going to be using Misty Moonlight ink to stamp the inside of the card. And just getting some ink on getting a good amount of ink on the sentiment. Again, trying to get it so that I'm hopefully stamping it straight here. I think it's fairly straight. Maybe not perfectly straight, but fairly straight. I think it'll work. And then I've got So Saffron. We're going to be stamping a couple of the little star images. And these I always struggle to get straight. I don't know why. I think I stamped the star straighter than I stamped the sentiment on this one. Just going to stamp 3 of those right around the sentiment and glue it to the inside, and we will be all done with this card. Let me grab my stamp and seal here and get it rolling. Whoop. And we'll be done. So, all right. Again, just using Stampin' Seal to adhere it to the inside of the card base. And then flip it closed and grab the bone folder and give it a good solid crease here. Try not to knock my star off the front. And that's it for the card. So I'll let you take a peek and let me know what you think, whether you like it with or without. I think I actually like it a lot better without the palm trees. So I think that's the one I'm going to go with if I make some more of these. So I appreciate you guys joining today. Hopefully you enjoy the card, and hopefully you'll consider getting the stamp set. It's a really, really pretty one, and I love the coordinating dies with it. So definitely some good ones. Lots of good things in the new catalog. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. I'll have all the details posted out on my blog tomorrow, which is stampwithamyk.com. And you're welcome to follow along out there. If you're not already a subscriber, feel free to subscribe, and you'll get all the latest Stampin' Up! Information. And again, I appreciate you guys being here. I will plan to be back with another project on YouTube Live on Friday around 2 o'clock Eastern Time. And then back here on Facebook Live again next week, Tuesday, around 2 o'clock Eastern Time. So have a great rest of your week. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And we will chat soon.